Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of PhotoBiz Live. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Danny from the PhotoBiz team. Today we're going to be joined by one of our support team leaders, Mike B., and he's going to be going over Google Analytics and Webmaster Tools. So he's just going to be kind of breaking down what each one of these tools does and how you can implement them into your PhotoBiz account, why you should be using them, and how they can help out your account overall. So in addition to getting the opportunity to learn from Mike today, we're going to also have a QA session at the end of the webinar, so you may submit your questions using the chat tool, and they're going to be answered after the presentation. You can also join in on the discussion on Twitter by using the hashtag PhotoBizLive. Again, that's just hashtag PhotoBizLive. So if at any point during today's webinar you have any difficulty hearing Mike or myself or seeing our screen that we're sharing, please just let us know by leaving us a comment in the comments box below. And also, we are going to be recording this webinar and placing it online for replay on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/photobiz. So just one more thing, if you guys do have individual questions about your account, your ranking, getting any of these tools implemented, if they're questions like that, we encourage you, instead of asking them here in the webinar, just calling our support team. So you can just feel free to give the support team a call, and they'll be more than glad to help you out. And Mike got all of our contact info at the end of the webinar. And if you do have any other questions or you're not able to make a call, you can always go onto our website and create a support ticket through there as well. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get things kicked off with Mike. So just bear with us for a second, and we're going to get everything going.
Hey everybody, this is Mike. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm a team leader with PhotoBiz, as Danny told you, and we're going to be taking this time to discuss Google Analytics and Google Webmaster Tools. It's kind of a beginner's guide just to getting set up and kind of seeing how this can help your website be more successful. So we'll talk a little bit about how it can help with marketing, even website design, what you should be putting on your website. It's really interesting. We're going to kind of go ahead and jump into analytics in the first part, and then we'll go over Webmaster Tools in the second part. So really, I want to talk a little bit about why you should use both of these tools. If you think about it, like if you go on a diet, you want to track your intake, maybe weigh yourself, measure, record, and see what works to be successful. And Analytics and Webmaster Tools are really great sites to measure and track your progress for success. Once you do that, you can know what works, and you can change your site, and whatever your audience is into, you'll be able to sort of, over time, be able to predict that, be able to just know how to respond to an audience. This is going to maximize your marketing and your SEO for your site. SEO is search engine optimization, for those of you that might not be familiar. So let's go ahead and jump right into analytics. Now I've provided a link here, and I'm going to show you a little bit of how to get set up. But for further help with that, call us over at support, ask to speak with an SEO consultant. Most times when you're talking with an SEO consultant, they're going to go ahead and recommend to set both of these up just so you can get an inside peek. But real quick, I'm just going to show you the areas where when you get started in analytics, they're going to give you a tracking code. And I'll kind of show you what the tracking code looks like. Bear with me one moment. They'll give you a tracking code like this. So what are you tracking? A single domain, and paste this code on your site. So you'll just basically take this code and you'll copy it. And then you'll go to your PhotoBiz account. Now if you've got a Flash HTML portfolio, you want to go ahead and click in there, go to your settings icon, and then we're going to navigate down to Visit Counter. With your Visit Counter, you're just going to pop that code right in there, go ahead and hit Update, and I always go ahead and give the site a publish after doing that. That's going to install the tracking code on that part of your website. Now if you're using the PhotoBiz Store Biz Site blog, you actually can go in there to where the Site Builder tab is. A little bit different. You're going to go to Search Engines this time. Under Search Engines, where it says Visit Counter, pop that code right in there, and you're good to go. So that's getting set up with that. Later on, we'll be talking a little bit about how to set up Webmaster Tools. Those two areas, again, are going to be very important when you set that up. So can you bear with me one moment? We're going to get back to the slideshow. If it loads up here. We're going to really talk about where you start off once everything is set up and verified in your account. And give me 1 second. Hey guys, bear with me for just one moment. I'm going to go ahead and close this and open it back up. Sometimes this slideshow isn't the friendliest for me here. All right, thanks for holding on there. So let's go ahead and jump right into Google Analytics. So Analytics is going to differ a little bit from Webmaster Tools, and when we go over Webmaster Tools, I'll kind of tell you the differences here. But Analytics focuses on your visitors, what they're doing on your website. It tracks them, going in, looking at your site, where they're from. So it really is a marketing tool to make sure that you're reaching the audience you want to reach. You can see if you're focused with your efforts. It can also help dictate design of your website. What pages are people interacting with the most? So it's a way to make sure that each page on your site is engaging to your viewer. So let's go ahead and go through. We're going to talk about your analytics dashboard. So this will be really the first place you'll go in analytics, and it's the standard reporting tab, the bulk of information that you're going to see there. I usually say it's probably the most important area that opens up, and you can track different features there. So we're going to go real quick back over to Analytics. And we're going to make it like I just opened Analytics. Give me a second. Okay, so when you go in there, it's going to be the standard reporting tab. And as you can see, you've got your visitors overview, and it's really just going to track right here in this chart just how many visitors are coming to your website. So, and it's really interactive. You can change up at the top, right-hand corner. You can change the date and, track kind of whatever date you want to track there. Below that, you're going to see like 32 people visited the site. You're going to see visits, unique visitors. We're going to go into these a little bit later. But you can always click those for more details. One tip for our users who may be tracking a blog with this, I find it really helpful. On the days that you make posts, you can actually come in here on this chart, and you see right in the center on the bottom there's a little arrow. And you click that, you can create an annotation. So the annotation is like a little note of something that you did. So I could say, blog post about analytics, and then you can save that, and it's actually saved as a little note there. And, later in time when you come back to it, you can actually click there, see that blog post about analytics right underneath there. So it helps you just kind of remember what you were doing that day, and it helps track blog posts. If you start a new campaign, a new marketing campaign, put a featured client on your website, put an annotation about it to remind yourself what was going on with your website. So once again, we're tracking what we're doing on the site, and then this is going to measure the progress. So that's really, kind of a great tool all in itself. But down below, like I said, you've got your visitors, you've got unique visitors. So these are visitors that have never come to your site before. They're brand new. You've also got your page view, so how many pages were looked at over this period of time that you're measuring. And pages per visit, so, like 2.3. So, it's going to be broken down into decimals there, but you get the major idea of how engaging your site is. And you've got an average visit duration. And that's going to be really important for, gauging, is my site interesting for people? you'll be able to track it over time. If you're putting new content on there, take a look at analytics after a little while. See how long people are staying on the website. It's going to be really important because then you can mimic those features. Like I said, make an annotation, look back at it. It's really cool. There is a bounce rate there. Now, bounce rate has a few myths around it. I want to talk a little bit about that. It's the percentage of single-page visits, basically people navigating onto your site and then leaving. So, with our Flash websites, sometimes that bounce rate can be a little bit inflated. I always say average visit duration is going to be more important than your bounce rate. So if it's a little higher, like you can see with my PhotoBiz site, it's 41.03%. Not so concerned with that. I do need to get my visit duration up a little bit higher. And you've got, of course, your percentage of new visits. Also breaks it down in a pie chart for you. So this is kind of, very awesome information to get you started. And down below, you'll see a few other things we're going to go into in just a moment. And this is the overview for actually the audience. If you look over to the left of the screen, you'll see we're going to kind of go through there. Give me a second. We're going to go to the audience report. So this is all about people logging on, looking at your site, seeing what they're doing, how are they going. It's going to give you demographics of where they're navigating from. It's going to go, like what area, like location, what they're doing on the site, what pages are they looking at. Also, what technology are they using to access your site? You got a mobile mirror. Is it worth it? Is it really, are you getting what you paid for out of that? And visitors flow, which is a really cool new thing that they've kind of put on there. So let's take a look at demographics first. I do think demographics, you see you have language there, which most people are English, but more importantly, you've got location. So location is a way you can go in there, click on the United States. Here at PhotoBiz, we're in Greensboro, so I'm definitely hitting a target audience. You do see a few other people kind of around there looking at it. But you get to see, is what I'm doing being marketed toward the area that I'm trying to serve? If it's too scattered, you can maybe refine your search terms down a little bit, get people in your community involved with your website, get more hits there, to maximize where you're being seen. Okay, so the next one is behavior, over to the left again. Behavior is going to be, new visitors and returning visitors. So out of all my new visitors, are people coming back to look at my website again? This is one thing where if you want to up your returning visitors, you can do sort of things like somebody contacts you, you shoot their wedding, and then give them a call and go, hey, I featured you in a gallery on my website. Take a look, show your friends, see how many returning visitors you get out of that. You'll also get, a whole group of new visitors. But that's going to really help, if people want to come back to your website. You've got, some frequency, basically counts of visits and page views there you can look at. And page engagement. So page engagement, I think, is really important too. Are your viewers engaged? Are you getting more time with your viewers? If not, there's ways you can do, or there's things you can do with your website. Get rid of links that lead all the way off the page. You can use one of our external links in a lightbox window to keep people on the page. And if you need help setting something like that up, give us a call. We can look at your site and really go through there and pull out what's going to be more engaging with your clients. So that kind of does it for behavior there. With technology, it's always kind of funny because I joke with people that Google knows way too much about us sometimes. They know what browser and operating system we're using. So I guess a lot of people use Firefox when going to my site, but you can see Chrome, Internet Explorer. This is more, for me, just kind of a cool thing they can do. You can see kind of above the little chart down there where my mouse is. You can also see operating system. A lot of really great things. Flash version, it tracks what Flash version people are using. And network. So, what network they're using. More important than technology, though, is going to be mobile. So basically, how many of my visitors are using a mobile device? How many are not? If you're a senior photographer and you're trying to get seniors to look at your site, you get that mobile mirror. Are they actually logging on from their phones? You get to see that. You can also work on updating that mobile site. Get your logo just right. Give us a call. Let us look at it. We can help you out. We're just making a nice looking mobile website for you. You can also see what devices are being used here right under mobile to access that. So that's a really cool feature too. If you see a lot of people on iPad coming, your HTML mirror is going to be great. iPhone, get that mobile mirror, and you'll be good to go. I wanted to talk a little bit about visitors flow also. So you can see with visitor flow, this is like a roadmap of what your clients are doing on your website. So you can see there's going to be a red bar where they drop off, but you can see how many people, like apparently I have somebody from China coming and looking at my site, United Kingdom, but United States, and you can see I'm getting a few people interacting on my HTML site. They're going to my HTML home, they went to my links, contact page. So it's really kind of cool. It's more of a visual representation of what pages are actually working. And again, this dictates almost a little bit of design of your website, because if you're getting people dropping off at your home page, it's time to put an action item on your home page. Click here for more information. I've got a great discount running this month. Click on this page. Try to get people navigated. Have a goal in mind, like a contact page, something like that, that you can get people to. So that's pretty much it for the audience report. I think it is one of the most useful reports with analytics, and I'd say about every month or so you should come in here and look, especially when you want to update your website and see what's really working, what's really not. Your clients may tell you what's good about the website, but their actions are going to speak a lot louder than their words there. So I wanted to touch briefly on advertising with Google Analytics. There is an area here for advertising, and you can set it up with AdWords. So that's really cool. Now, I'm touching briefly on it because anytime you call PhotoBiz, speak with an SEO consultant, we're going to really kind of talk about optimizing the organic search results. So we're not ever going to recommend that you get AdWords. It is an option that's out there, and from what I've heard, people have gotten good results from it. But we more study organic results. But those AdWords, if you do decide to go that route, can filter right in here, with campaigns, keywords, match search queries, all those kind of great information. So you're tracking everything in one place. It's a really great option. I recommend if you do have AdWords, go ahead and get it integrated in here and utilize that. So we're going to move to our next report, and I really think that traffic sources is my second favorite area in analytics to look at, just because it really gives you a good idea of who's linking into you. We always talk with search engine optimization calls about getting those incoming links, network out in your community, get people to link to you, and this is where you're going to see if it's paying off. Are your links set in the right place? So let me show you that real briefly as well. Traffic sources, over on the left. You've got your overview. So overview is going to be, basically, it's going to track your visits, but you're going to get this cool pie chart down here. 28% search traffic, so those are people that went to Google or Bing, typed in, I want to look at Mike Baldwin photography, and found me that way. 25% is referral traffic, so it's going to be people who clicked a link from another website. And then 46% is direct traffic. So maybe I gave somebody my business card. Maybe they, kind of heard of me through somebody's blog, or, well, yeah, they just basically typed it in, in Baldwin Photo, went right to my website. So it's a good breakdown to see what's working and what's not. If you want to up your search traffic, that's when you get on the phone with us, and we can give you some kind of good solutions there. You're also going to see a little list of keywords and, your search traffic, referral traffic. And the cool thing is you can click on these reports, or you can come up here to sources and see these reports as well. So we're going to go through a little bit. You can look at all of your traffic and see it breaks it down kind of below this chart here. I really like the breakdown. Direct traffic, 18 people. They visited about 2 pages. You even get this average visit duration, a minute, 12 seconds. So people that are going directly to my website are spending a little more time there, which makes sense. Searching, sometimes you get on a site, you may spend a little less time because it might not be exactly what you were looking for. And so then you've got your referrals here too. Actually, I've got a couple from Yahoo that stayed for a while. It's kind of surprising. But you can see there's referrals from my blog, from PhotoBiz's blog, Facebook. So you can really track, how well is my marketing working. If you're really focusing on Facebook and linking your site out, we'll go into a little bit of that more with the social feature down here. But you can see where's the bulk of my marketing going, get those links out there, see what you're doing to get people to click those links, if it's actually working, or if you need to change your game up a little bit. So then we break it down into direct, referrals, and search. With direct, it's basically telling me kind of more detail. Where are they going in my site once they get in there? With referrals, kind of the same way. Where are they coming from? How many pages are they looking at? I have a Tumblr that's right there, and people are going through and actually looks like a lot longer than my my regular blog that I've got, and then PhotoBiz's blog is next. So you got a lot of people. You can see what links are working best for you. Try to replicate places like that to link from in the future. So if you've got one site that's a local, like a florist, you're a wedding photographer, and that's doing real well for you, try to hook up with more people in town and see if you can get that same mojo working, with some more of these referrals. And that's going to be your best bet for your SEO and just for your marketing overall. Remember, those go hand in hand. And then you've got your search. So you're going to see this is going to break down a little more. You've got, of course, got an overview of your organic searches. I don't use paid searching, so it's not going to be available to kind of go into more here. But with organic, you can see, what people are searching for and how well that search is working. So in Baldwin Photo, Greensboro, North Carolina, 2 pages, a minute 50, so basically a good way to see what people are searching for. If you notice people are searching for certain key terms like fine art photographer in Greensboro, NC, work that into some of your metadata, work that into your pages. Every time you put information on your page, you can work in some of these keywords, and that'll get crawled. So we're going to go down actually now to this tab, Search Engine Optimization. So the really cool thing is Webmaster Tools and Analytics have a great way of working together. You can actually put in your Webmaster Tools stuff and get Webmaster Tool reports kind of filtered right through to Analytics. So it's kind of like a baby Webmaster Tools inside here. You can see your queries, what people are searching for, how many clicks you're getting. You can also see your impressions versus actual clicks. So not a whole lot for my site yet, but I've I got to get in there and work on it. You can also see landing pages. Where are people actually landing when they do search and get in there? So you see what pages of yours are really popular. It's a big help to seeing what pages are really engaging for your clients. What's being found by your visitors. And then, of course, a geographical survey. If you're doing something international, you can break down United States, United Kingdom, Albania. Apparently I might be popular there, I don't know. But you can really get a good idea of who all is looking at your site through there. And then real briefly, I'll touch on social. You can actually set it up, kind of a social relationship. You can put social plugins like Google Plus on your page and actually track those through your analytics account. And call one of us, get us on the phone. We'll kind of help you walk through this. But you can see which social media. Right now Facebook is the only one I've really got kind of hooked up here. But you can just track, are people clicking on links going to my website? Are people liking my page? You'll be able to see a little bit of that through there. So this traffic source is big help to seeing what people are talking about. The next one is content. So this is going to be, I think content really helps with more getting design of your website, helping to see what to put on there. So let's go right into there. Be able to take a look. Content overview. So it's going to give you more page views. What's interesting about your pages, and then your time on your page. So right now 39 seconds. And guys, time on page is you've got to decide how much time you're going for. I think in this day and age, people are very kind of quick-minded. They look for a little while and then they may navigate off. So sometimes I'm really happy if I get a minute time on page. Other times on a blog I've had 2 minutes time on page, which I've been kind of thrilled with, because you got to think about it. There's so many things out there that's taking people away, Facebook and all this. So kind of you'll have to look and see what you could do to increase it. But a couple of minutes time on page is really good. But so going through how people are acting with your website. So you've got your site content. It's going to tell you what pages are going to be most engaging, kind of like what we saw with your audience here. It's going to break it down into more detail. And the cool thing is if you click on these pages, you get more information, page views, unique. So actually everybody looking at these pages looks like are going to be new. Spending about 18 seconds on my my home gallery there, which is fine. 7 people of those 20 came in. This is what entrances mean. They came in right at that load equals flash, which is just the home page. And about half of those people exited on that home page. So you can kind of see a little more what they're doing. Content drill down kind of breaks it down a little more for you, which pages are the most popular, and then it goes down from there. We can look at what pages people come into. That's landing pages. So they're coming in mostly on my Flash. My HTML mirror is really, doing well for me. It's got a few people landing there. This little dash here, on my website, I actually have a splash intro page. So number one is my splash intro page. So people are actually landing at that splash intro page, which is good. That's where I want them to start. It's got a little information on there. It's also got a Facebook like button. And then, of course, you can see exit pages. So some people have left on my splash intro page, but you see there's one person's left on the contact page and on an info page. Really, that's a great page for people to leave on. If they contact you and then leave, you can set that up. Try to get action items to get people to that contact page. So that's breaking down by content, what pages are the most interesting. If you want to get people to a page, there's ways you can make that more interesting. Like I said, people love to see themselves in your websites, do a featured gallery, and at the end of it, point to your contact page or point to your store, wherever you're wanting to get them to go. So there's site speed here, which is going to be load times of pages. You've got an overview. Which, mine's kind of reading 0 right now, but you can see it breaks it down a little more. I guess it's loading very quickly, which is a good thing. I don't have a whole lot on my site. It's very simple galleries. Loading fast is really what you want. So you can kind of pay attention to that, especially if you're having trouble loading. Get in there, take a look at that. You've also got, site search, which I don't think I have all the way set up here. And one thing I'm going to point out here, because I'm going to use it real quick, is down at the bottom there is a help center. And so anything you're not sure of, Google provides a little, at-a-glance overview of basically just a little description, key search metrics for your site. So you can actually go in there, search that, get everything set up for site search if you want. And this is mostly going to be for store content's more going to have an insight search. So we're hoping to help you out with hooking that up. And then you've got your events. So these things for like a Flash website aren't going to be kind of as important. And then you've got your AdSense, which you can kind of, if you're subscribing to that, you can kind of get that worked in as well. Another big thing that I want to talk about with content is in-page analytics. You're going to be able to see your page here, and I'm going to tell you why this really helps you out with, I'm clicking this button to make this bigger, why this will help you out with design of your page. So I can see my page. It's got a little scroll bar, but there's a button here, Show Color. It's going to show me a heat map of where people are clicking on my splash intro page. So it's going to help get people, what's the hot spot on my page? Where are people really drawn to? You can learn a lot about your viewers by just clicking that, learning where they're clicking. If you want them to click elsewhere, make that more appeasing. If, you've got a Facebook link down here and it's not working for you, looks like this enter button's really working, so why don't I make a big Facebook button too? Something like that. Another thing that I run into is people will design a website that looks great and they're using a large monitor, and then they'll call back a few weeks later and go, my clients can't see some of the content on the bottom of my page. What should I do? I need to redesign it. Well, analytics actually can help you with that. There's this browser size button over to the right, and if you click that, it's going to show you kind of an average browser size. And if you watch my mouse, you see it says 100%. As I move over, it's going to track to see 85% stops here. And as you go out, the percentage of people who are, accessing the site from larger screens. So this helps out with letting me know what my clients might be seeing or what the average computer monitor is seeing, because all browsers aren't created equal, or all monitors, are not created equal, and those browser sizes are going to shift. Also at the top, there's a little slider that can show you, I want to reach, say, half my audience. Well, here's basically the monitor size that half my audience is seeing, and I'm good enough with that, so you can kind of move on there. So really great thing that Google has added under that content section. I think it really is priceless. So I've got a little bit of advanced analytics for you guys. Once you're set up with analytics, you're used to reading it. If you want to do more, I've got some addresses here. You can also search in the Help Center for it. But there's events, so you can see more about creating events on your analytics, and goals and conversions. And what that means is basically setting up a goal and seeing how many people are actually getting to a certain page. You can see how many people spend a certain amount of time on your page. It's a little more in depth than I want to go into today because it can get a little bit confusing to set things up, and it takes a little while to see. But you can see different goal completions, and like I have a goal of, are they on my page for more than a minute? I have a goal for engaged viewers, so that means they've gone through a couple of pages, and then here's one, nobody's checking out my blogs, but if they're getting to my blog page. So you can really customize these reports to really kind of help out you just getting to know the site, reaching those goals, and that's part of tracking and measuring the site. So now, real briefly, we're going to go into Webmaster Tools. We're going to kind of move away from analytics, and I've kind of already got Webmaster Tools up and running. Let me get back to my slideshow. So Webmaster Tools, let me tell you how this differs a little bit from analytics. Webmaster Tools, whereas analytics is where your clients are seeing your website and showing you how they're seeing it, Webmaster Tools is showing you how Google is looking at your website. So it's kind of all the tools you need to help get your website out there, get a really clean feedback on search results for your clients. Anytime you talk with an SEO consultant here, they're going to recommend setting you up with Google Webmaster Tools because we can get a sitemap on there, really clean things up from the search engine's perspective. But you can also see what Google's looking for in your site, and really be able to tailor your site a little more, for them. And when I say that, I do mean like what they're looking for, which is a really easy, human accessible website. So let's look a little bit more into kind of how to use Webmaster Tools. And before I do that, actually, I want to show you real briefly. We're coming back into the store. If you've got a PhotoBiz biz site, store, or blog, when you click in there, search engines, there's going to be a little tracking code, a meta tag you can put in there. But if you've already got your analytics code and the visit counter, then you can actually go ahead and just say authorize it through analytics, and it'll work fine. And of course, actually, let me show you real quick, just to be thorough. In your Flash HTML, you go back to settings, and that visit counter is, of course, kind of a little more than halfway down there. So you can put a meta tag in there. Or, like I said, if you've got analytics, authorize it through analytics, save yourself a few steps. So this is your Webmaster Tools dashboard. And here you can see if there are any crawl errors, what your search queries look like, and just check on how your sitemap is doing. So I want to talk a little bit about crawl errors first. When we submit a sitemap, and I'm going to show you how to do that when we get to sitemaps here, there will be a few, crawl errors. I'm generally telling people not to worry about those. We do block certain pages that are just kind of the inner workings of PhotoBiz. It's things you don't want seen on the site. So I tell a lot of people, don't worry about your crawl errors right now. You'll get a message from Google if something is really wrong with the with your account, if something's suspected of foul play there. So no worries about that. The next big graph you see is search queries. So you see your impressions, which is the blue line, and I don't have any clicks right now, but that would be the red line. You'll be able to see how many people are actually going once they do search. So just right at a glance, good thing to look at. And then, of course, you've got your sitemaps. I'm going to go ahead and click. Any of these headings you click, you get more information. But you can kind of see how well your sitemap is doing. Now, you'll see I've submitted 2 sitemaps. Let me talk to you a little bit about how to really get a sitemap submitted. And if you need further help with that, give me an email or give us a call at support here. We all know how to get these set up. But basically, when you click on that sitemap button, you'll see this big orange button up here, Add Test Sitemap. And when you click that, it should show your domain name with a slash. For our Flash websites, Flash HTML websites, you just simply type in sitemap.cfm and then submit your sitemap. And that's, after everything's authorized, if you submit that, within a few seconds, it'll ask you to reload the page. And as you can see, I've already got that sitemap loaded in here. 8 submitted, 8 indexed, different web pages. So we're going to go back to the main sitemap. Let me talk to you a little bit about the biz sites in the store. when you're in your control panel there, let's go to the Site Builder tab, Search Engines. We've got a great tool here. You can publish a sitemap really easily, big old button, Publish Sitemap, and then it's actually going to go ahead and give you your sitemap link. So you can copy that. And really all you need is the end after your domain name. Put that in with the big orange button and submit. So I'm going to kind of get back to what the sitemaps do a little bit later, but it's basically going to hand feed Google the map of your website to look at, to index, to crawl. So if you've got a Flash website and you're worried about Google not being able to crawl it, have no fear. Like we're basically hand feeding them what the website looks like. So let's get back to my presentation here. And kind of got my overview of sitemaps there. Like I said, it's a roadmap for Google to see your website. It cleans up your rankings. Now, I do have a little note here, and this is actually from the help. Google doesn't guarantee that we'll crawl or index all URLs. However, we use the data in your sitemap to learn about your site's structure, which will allow us to improve our crawler schedule and do a better job with crawling your site in the future. In most cases, webmasters will benefit from sitemap submission, and in no case will you be penalized for it. I've got the link there too if you want to go to that later. We'll make this available to you. So you're not going to be hurt for it, and it's going to, in most cases, it's going to benefit you. I've seen a lot of people where they're not happy with what they're getting as search results. Maybe it's a page that they deleted a long time ago, and they've had some maybe kind of funky keywords in there, and they want to know how to clean it up. Submitting a sitemap is step one. Like you really got to do that, get it in there. Also, it's been said by Google, it's really helpful with sites that have dynamic content. So, Flash, videos, things like that. Submitting a sitemap really does make a large difference in how Google crawls your website. So go ahead and get that sitemap in there. I would say that is the #1 most important thing to do with Webmaster Tools once you get it authorized. So let's talk a little bit about the configuration reports. This is going to be the best way to tell Google your preferences for your website and basically set your details. And some of this I'm going to kind of breeze over because there's a lot in here you won't really need to worry about. It's stuff for people who are kind of coding their own website. And with us, we make a lot of the tools already, so you don't really have to worry about the intricate inner workings. But under configuration, you've got settings, so you can target users in a certain country if you want to, and there's a big old list. So I've right now got it set to United States. You can also choose a preferred domain for them to link out, www, or just the bare domain name. So I've got it, don't set a preferred domain. And the crawl rate. I really do say, if you're not as versed in Google, let Google optimize the crawl rate for your site. It's usually gonna help you out and be a better kind of solution for you, well, at least while getting started. Under configuration, you've also got your site links. And let me show you guys what a site link is real quick. We're just going to hop on over to Google because you'll know them when you see them, but sometimes you might not if just by the name. So I've just searched for PhotoBiz, and under PhotoBiz you can see websites, pricing, PhotoBiz blog, contact us, store, client proofing. So if somebody searches for your site directly, Google is the one who decides if your page gets these site links. You have no control about them adding site links, but you do have control if you want them to remove a site link. Let's say that you're a photographer and one of the things you do is boudoir, but you don't want it just like advertised on the search engine. You can basically go in here, take the link that they're linking to directly, pop that in and demote that link as a site link, and Google will take into consideration and possibly not list that as a site link in the future. So just in case you don't want a link there, you know how to get rid of that. The URL parameters I'm not going to go over too much because like the little orange or the yellow warning thing there, use this feature only if you know how parameters work. Incorrectly excluding URLs could result in many pages disappearing from the search. We set the sitemap up for you. This is not something you really should have to worry about. And lastly is a change of address. So, basically if you're changing domain names and you submit that, there'll be some information about how you can change that there. So that's your configuration, getting everything set up. A lot of times people will go into the configuration, not touch a thing, and be just fine, quite successful, with their site. So the next report is health. So, basically making sure your site's looking good to Google, SEO healthy, and ready to be found. It's going to have your crawl errors, your blocked URLs, crawl stats, fetches Google, which I'm going to talk to you about a little bit because it's really important too. If you're made a big update, you can fetches Google and get things kind of refreshed. And then malware. So let's go real quick to that report. Close up configuration. We've got health. Okay, so crawl errors. Like I said before, you can see if there are crawl errors on the site. I've just added the store, so it's kind of showing some of these pages that I'm not really showing right now because I'm kind of in the middle of changing my website around. But usually you're not going to have to worry about crawl errors. But if you are curious about what pages may be blocked, you can definitely take a look at them there. The next thing down is your crawl stat. So this is going to be how often Google's crawling your page. On the high end, Google's doing 19. On the average end, 6. Low days, they're crawling it once. How many kilobytes downloaded is there? Time spent downloading is there. So, you can kind of look at Google Basics if you want to learn more about their crawl stats. It's some good information there, but once again, a lot of people, I don't see them going into this and really taking the time to, get in depth. You've got blocked URLs. This is one thing where really with our sitemap, we do block certain URLs, just so that basically other people won't be able to get in there and see those, or they won't be listed. So if you don't have certain pages, we'll kind of block those so it doesn't just say website unavailable, things of that nature. But real importantly, I want to get to fetches Googlebot. So you can see I've done this a few times. If I ever do a big kind of a big update on my SEO or a big update on my website in general, I want to go ahead and fetches Googlebot, and that just cleans up the sitemap. Gets Google to crawl the site. Nothing about Google's super fast, but this is one of the fastest ways you can get things done. And basically, you can just take your website, fetch. They're going to crawl it here. It says pending. We may need to go back and forth here and reload the page. Success. Google's crawled my site. And then you can also submit this to the index here. And really, this is going to basically, if your site's changed significantly, Google can use this URL as a starting point for indexing your site content. And then any page you link out there, it'll also crawl those. So it's helping just get it recrawled, out there on the search engine when people are searching for you. It's a great tool, like I said, if you've remade your site. So go ahead and use that. Malware, everybody should hopefully be seeing Google has not detected any malware on this site. If there are any major malware issues, they're going to kind of have some information up there about what you can do to help fix that. So, knock on wood, nobody will have that. They shouldn't be having those errors with PhotoBiz as well, especially if you've been talking with our SEO consultants. So the next thing is Webmaster Tools reports is traffic. So this is going to be, like I said, a peek behind Google's curtain to see who's seeing you on searches and who's clicking on your links. So let's go in there and just take a look at that real quick. And you got a little bit of this from analytics, and this is also kind of what goes into your analytics report. So you've seen a little bit. You get to see those impressions in more details, what people are searching there, and how they're finding you, if you're actually coming up, and what your average position is. So you can really kind of change up your marketing, get more links coming into your site. On your page, put the keywords in your About Me information, any kind of information you've got on your site, put those buzzwords you want to be found for. So you've got also a report of links to your website, and so you can see, there's a WordPress blog that links to me quite a bit. I've got my Flickr up there. So you can see almost every tool you can use, you can look back at Webmaster Tools and see if that's working. I get a lot of links from Flickr just posting my photos there. PhotoBiz community, I got a lot from there as well. So, and most link content is my main page. But this is how to kind of check up and see, are the links I'm going after really working for me? If not, don't put as much energy into those and focus on the ones that, really are working for you. That blog that I always post to seems to be working really great. Flickr seems to be working really great for me. So I'm going to start upping my attention there because it's getting me the most clicks. And then, of course, you can also take a look at your internal links. So basically, where in your site, you can see there's a lot of iPhone stuff there, but where in your site are people, kind of going to? What's getting linked internally for your website? There is a way, if you have, kind of a +1, you can track your activity on Google+. I don't use it a whole lot, so there's not a lot of stats there, but you can kind of see what URLs are being linked and discussed there. So you can take kind of more of a look there a little later on. but just for time, I want to go ahead and get down to optimization. Optimization is all about cleaning things up and tuning how you want your site to be seen. And so let's get over here real quick. We've kind of already talked a little bit about sitemaps, and this is, of course, where you enter your sitemaps. You can see how well they're doing, making sure you're getting your pages indexed. Now there is, remove URLs. Like I said, I wouldn't focus a lot on that. Our sitemap is going to go ahead and take care of a lot of that for you. But if you do have something that's being linked, you will want to, go ahead and, if you want to get it out of there, you can basically create a request. So that's going to be the majority of that. So next we're going to go down to HTML improvements. You'll be able to point out like duplicate meta descriptions. So really with going through these, you want to kind of just go through, see what pages might have duplicate descriptions. Just make sure they're not completely duplicate. I've got a lot of the same words, but with that, get somebody on the phone here. Let us know. We'll help you kind of fine-tune that. You've also got your content keywords. So what words are really being found in your website? That's how, like, if I wanted to get, like, say, iPhoneography up to the top, I could start using that more on my website and, go ahead and get that to the top. And then there's going to be some other resources which you can kind of read about later. They're always kind of updating, making new things. So the last thing I really want to leave you with is Webmaster Tools and Analytics has a great tool, and I've kind of briefly touched on it. We'll go back to Analytics because I like it better here. But when you're in any report, like your mobile report, you'll see there's a Help Center down at the bottom. You can click on those, find out a little more about what report you're in. You can also type and search in the Help Center. So with basic questions, learn more there because it's a great wealth of information. And when you do search, it's going to give you more links going out to find out even more about analytics. Everybody's goals for their website are going to be different, and analytics and Webmaster Tools can kind of bend to fit those goals. And it's going to be up to you guys to go in there, figure out how you want to get things set up. But these are, what I've went over today is kind of the starting points that you want to jump off of. So, of course, if you've got questions, don't hesitate to give us a call. You can see I'm there ready to take your phone calls. We'll be happy to discuss analytics, Webmaster Tools with you. And if you've got questions about my presentation, you can go ahead and send me an email, mikeb@photobiz.com. So thanks again for joining me. I'm going to turn this back over to Danny real quick. So thanks so much.
All right, thank you guys so much for joining us today. So we're going to jump right into our Q&A session. So there's been quite a few questions that have come in here, so we're going to kind of work our way down here. So if you do have any additional questions, like we mentioned before, just use the chat tool inside of the webinar software. And we are going to go ahead and work on our questions right now. So let's see what we have.
So Brian actually asked us, where do I get my sitemap? So let me kind of show you a little bit about where to find that. Let's see. Hang on one second here. I want to make sure. Okay, cool. So with the sitemap, if you're in your store or your biz site or your blog, under Site Builder, search engines, you'll see the link to the sitemap right there. Now with your Flash HTML site, it's going to be more, we don't actually list it out for you. It's a good idea. I might talk to our design team about including a link there, but really you just need to go in there. It's going to give you your domain name. You type, and it's going to give you a / and then it's just sitemap.cfm. C as in cat, F as in Frank, and then M as in Mary. All right, I want to go over Portia's question. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Should I put in as many keywords as are available, or should I limit it? So under search engines, when you're working on your keywords, go ahead and take a look at what I've got. This is a good length for keywords, description, and really title. With keywords, I really think keywords is kind of a misleading name. I like key phrases, separate by commas, and I say just 12 to 15. You want to really maximize your phrases there. So like, I'm a fine art photographer, so I have fine artistic photography in Greensboro, North Carolina as a keyword, and then I just kind of flesh that out a little more. Michael Baldwin photography in Greensboro, North Carolina. So don't put as many as you can in there. Too many is actually looked at as a black hat SEO technique, and they can kind of flag your site for maybe being a little too generic if you're just kind of throwing in everything in the kitchen sink. So be careful of that. I'd say 12 to 15 at most in your search engines. On your individual pages here, I'd say even less. I haven't even filled out my keywords here, but I'd say about 8 to 10 for page keywords.
All right, everybody, and as as more questions come in, a lot of them have been very individual based, so we are going to just take down everybody's name that, has specific questions, and we'll get the support team to call you there. Again, please don't hesitate to use the support team, and just like Mike mentioned, take advantage of the passionate support team we have available for you. That's included in your account. And so many people, they've only called us once or twice when they first signed up, but please give us a call and chat with our support team members. You can actually call in and let the support agent you're knowing that you want an SEO consultation call, and they'll actually get you connected with somebody who is an SEO expert here if that agent is not an SEO expert. So we do have people specific that are set up to specifically answer your questions about SEO. So I want to kind of leave a couple comments to finish off today's webinar. Analytics and Webmaster Tools are great tools to help you understand what's going on with your website traffic and, how things and changes you're making to your websites affecting your visitors' experience. So unfortunately, there is no magic tool to end up on page 1 on Google, and a lot of people want to pay people, but generally they're not going to use proper methods to help out your ranking. So the best way to do it is definitely to continue to call our support team, study, keep up with Google and what they're doing and what they look for in terms of their ranking. And there's a lot of great websites out there that are blogs and websites that track different changes that Google have made. And again, you can always call the PhotoBiz support team if you have any questions. Also, just think of what you're doing outside of just Google Analytics and Webmaster Tools that's going to help drive traffic to your website. So it's not just spending, all night and day pumping in keywords and working on this great combination of different things. Think of other things you're doing on your website that's driving in traffic. Are you doing fun, cool things on your website? Are you linking out to your social media? Are you taking advantage of social media like Facebook and Twitter? Are you making people know that you have an online presence? These different things are going to also help out as well. So I just wanted to kind of put a different perspective on that too, to let you guys know in case anyone's hung up on this stuff. And if you are, please don't hesitate to give the support team a call here. So we are going to go ahead and wrap everything up today. So thank you again, Mike, for presenting and putting together this great slideshow and this hands-on demonstration. And thank you to all the attendees who joined us today. We really appreciate that. Again, we are going to have the recording online on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/PhotoBiz. So while you're there, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And also head over to our blog where you can actually check out our future webinars that are coming up. And if you haven't seen the July list, you can just head over to photobiz.com. You can click over to the blog, and then right from inside of here, Let me head right over to it. Here we go. It's the July webinar series. So just this link right here, you can follow it so you can see where we are right now with Mike's webinar. So we've got another upcoming webinar next week, which is Secrets to Your Client's Personality with Larry Perez. Then again, one of our support agents is going to be going over just overlooked features of PhotoBiz. So if you're trying to really, make your website stand out, definitely check out that webinar. We're also going to have a webinar completely in Spanish by Raul and Adriana from our support team. And then we're going to end off the month with a webinar by Sandy Putsch. She's going to be talking about pricing. So that's a really exciting topic. So I encourage you guys to sign up for those now while there's still seats available. So thank you again for joining us, everybody. I hope you have a great day.